Hello, everybody, and welcome to the big show. My name is Mickey, and this is Mickey in the Middle, the quintessential show for middle Americans where all middle Americans are welcome. It doesn't matter where you've been, where you're going, it just matters that you're here right now. Now, in this place, we are centrist. We are in the middle of the road. We don't want to listen to the 20% of the crazies on the right or the 20% of the crazies on the left. We just want to talk common sense with the people in the middle. The 60% of the people that are in the middle are the people that are near and dear to our heart. I am Mickey. I'm living in the middle of the country. I'm of average height. I'm of average income. I'm of average intelligence. I'm right in the middle of just about everything. And that's where the concept came from. I'm just a guy living in Arkansas trying to make it in this world. Now, I have political opinions. Now, being political and having political opinions is something that I believe everybody needs to have near and dear to their heart because our politicians are the ones that are running the execution, that's a bad word, the administration, execution. They're executing the will of the people, but they're administering our day to day political systems and they're supposed to be taking care of the people. Now, that's not always the case. In the United States of America, we have many political parties, but two of them have risen to the top of the top of the heaps. That'd be the Democrat and Republican parties, and they are at odds. They don't agree on anything. And what they expect you to do is they expect you to pick one all or nothing or the other all or nothing. And that's not the right answer. The right answer is somewhere in the middle. Susie, how you doing? I'm so glad that you're with us tonight. Congratulations, you won the Mickey in the Middle Chat Olympics. So there's Susie. Hi, Susie. How you doing? Glad to see you with us. All right. So uh, back to what I was saying is we have two political parties in the country, and they are on opposite ends of the spectrum. Hardly anybody seems like they're in the middle trying to do the best they possibly can for the middle Americans in the country. They all talk about middle America, middle America, middle America, middle America, but they're all run by special interests and they are all run by political money and political operations and how to get ahead. Listen, you don't become a, a governor or a senator or a congressperson or a judge without having political ambition. And that's the way that it goes. So, as an American and as a middle American, I'm asking you to do one thing. I'm asking you to only do one thing. Don't worry about the political parties. Just don't worry about them. Worry about the policies that affect middle Americans and our current situation in the world for imports and exports, for immigration, for drug policy, for healthcare, for education, for just about everything that's out there. You have to consider what's best for the country, which means all of the people for the country. Everybody's going to have all kinds of different aims in that. And that's okay. Everybody can, all I'm asking is the second thing I'm asking everybody to do is to be kind about it. Here's the thing. Donald Trump is now president of the United States. How he got there, I don't know. Beats crap out of me. They all of a sudden, right? So in 2020, Joe Biden became president of the United States. How he did that, I don't know. I don't know. I think that there were some shenanigans going on there. He got like 15% more votes than anybody in the history of the world, including President Obama and President Bill Clinton, who were the two most popular presidents other than Reagan of my lifetime. It's absolutely crazy. But I don't know how Donald Trump became president. I don't know how Biden became president. I don't know how Obama became president or anybody else how they became president. But what I do know is that when they get there, that's because they have political ambitions and that they want to be somebody and they want to be on the top dog. And here's what you do. You have to realize that that's the way that every single one of our politicians are. Some of them are in it for the right reasons, but those numbers are very, very, very small. Very small. I don't believe that there's a politician that's out there that's not in it for themselves. They want to change something in the school system, so they become a politician. They want to change something about the garbage routes, so they become a politician. They want to change something in what's happening in a neighborhood around where they live, or land, or development, or something. They want to have an impact on their community, so they become a politician. Next thing you know, it becomes addictive, like a drug, and then they want to be the mayor, and then they want to be a state senator, or a state legislator, and then they want to become a congressman or a senator or the president of the United States. I don't trust any of them. I don't trust any of them to do what's right for me, because I am too familiar with the way human nature works. They might listen to me, they might consider what I say, but they're going to do what the hell they want. So that means we have to make sure that everybody that we send up there, we send up with a grain of salt, and we can't trust any of them, but we can evaluate the legislation that they write and the legislation that they support. And that's the way you got to do it. You got to go, hey, is this good for all of us, or is this good for some of us or none of us? And if it's good for the majority of us, then you should support that, whether it's on the left or right. I say all of that because here recently, I've noticed that a whole bunch of my friends on the left and on the right, they're always being quiet about something, or they're always being loud about something. And when it's time to be loud, they're really, really loud. When it's time to be quiet, they're really, really quiet. And here's the deal: is I think it's absolutely hilarious, and I love all of my friends for it. My friends on the left have been going crazy here lately about this whole Operation security violations at the White House and at the highest levels, and we're going to get to that next. So before we start off with anything, let's go ahead and do what we normally do. Let's go ahead and talk about, how about the Constitution of the United States? Starts off with we the people. Those are the people that I am talking about. Every time I talk about Mickey in the middle of the week, 9 p.m. Central on Wednesday, I'm talking about we the people. There you go. How many people are there? Well, in the world, there's 8,213,000,000. In the United States of America, we have 346 million people with us right now. Now, I'm expecting that number to get bigger, but then I'm expecting all these numbers to get smaller because nobody's having babies anymore. We are $36 trillion, 646,917,000,000 in debt. And just for fun, I decided that I was going to talk about a couple of other things because I think that these things are going to be fun. I'm going to talk about doomsday. You want to talk about doomsday? Let's talk about doomsday. Everybody knows about the wildfires that happened out in California. Well, new analysis sounds alarm as dangerous trifecta creeps closer to U.S. homes and could cost trillions in damage. So, a new study by Zillow found that homes valued that were in danger had a combined total of $7 trillion. At major wind risk, 9.1 million trillion of wildfires, and 7 trillion could be suffering from severe flooding. Isn't that great? And then they talk about all the cities that can happen in. I do this to let you know that the world is a dangerous place. And we have fires and we have flooding and we have everything. So you make sure that you take care of yourself, because I'm trying to be positive. So let's be positive. All right, let's go. What else is up here? This is a great thing too. Water in a bottle is going to start killing you because it's got microplastics in it. So that's good, right? And why we all showed up here today, that right there is Michael Waltz. We're going to talk about him in just a second. But Trump revealed today who was behind the Signal text change leak, and let's go and get on this. All righty. Reporting from the Atlantic. All right, reporting from the Atlantic. Here we go. All right, are we ready to go? All right, here we go. This right here are all of my notes. This is about what happened with the Operation Security leak at the White House. This is embarrassing. This is horrible. It's terrible. Should have never happened. Do you know why it happened? Do you know why this operational security breach happened? Because people are involved with security. And your security is only as good as the people that you invite to the information that you are trying to keep secure. This happens quite a bit. Nobody thinks that it's important to keep secrets unless it's keeping who you're dating away from your mother-in-law. That's a joke. So, right? So, there's a lot of things that nobody thinks is a big deal. Nobody thinks that our attitude towards Russia is a big deal. Nobody thinks it's a big deal about how much money we spend in NATO. Nobody thinks it's a big deal about our imports and our exports from China. Nobody thinks it's a big deal about what's going on in Mexico or in China or in Canada or any place else. A lot of people just don't care about that. They don't think that it's relative or important. Here's the problem with that. There's a lot of things that you know and that I know and the people in the United States of America know that's important to our national security. Like, where is your nuclear plant? Well, just having nuclear plants makes some parts of the United States vulnerable. So if those are hit by a missile or those are blown up or anything like that, all of a sudden we have a nuclear security risk. And those nuclear power plants are all over the United States of America. Why is this important? Well, you remember that little country called China that has the TikTok app? And I talked about this before. If you take the information that's on TikTok and you give all of the information that's on your phone to China, China gets a picture about where people are, what people are doing, and where people go that are at nuclear security or nuclear facilities and power plant facilities in the Pentagon, at all of our bases, and all of our national things in our national things in our national things in our country that are supposed to be secure, like all of the energy production, all of the energy research, all of the biochemical labs, all of the research stations, all of the schools that are doing what kind of research in physics and in energy and in science. And if you have a very, very clear picture of all of that stuff, you have a very, very clear picture of what our vulnerabilities are. So that is what the problem with is Operation Security. You have to be treating Operation Security like it's important all the time at the national security level. Now, what happened was President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, the person that takes care of the director of the White House, whatever the heck she is, and Mike Waltz, National Security Advisor. They all got a Signal text chain, and I believe that Signal's probably secure, but the Israelis found a way to put something on your telephone that could tell everything to them about what you were doing. And you'll never even know what it is. I can't remember what that program is called, but it is very, very important because people in Israel can get stuff on your phone and then you can't hide it from them and you don't even know that you have it. It's called Silent Night or something like that. It's very, very secretive. But here's what the deal is. So all of these people, let's talk about who they were. All right. So it's Trump. It's Pete Hegseth. It's Tulsi Gabbard. It's the Director of National Intelligence. CIA Director John Radcliffe. The Vice President J.D. Vance. National Security Advisor Michael Waltz. And then they added one other person. There was a couple of people in there, right? But one of the people was named Jeffrey Goldberg. Now, if somebody hands you a phone and says, hey, look here, this is a text chain with the President of the United States, what are we going to be doing in Yemen? Do you go and check everybody that's on the text chain? Well, obviously, nobody checked all of the people that were invited. Some staffers put this little chain together and then handed everybody phones and said, hey, go talk to them. The next thing you know is they were talking about critical information on operations. They were talking about what is the threat, what are the vulnerabilities, what is the risk, what will their countermeasures be, What do we want to drop? What kind of bombs we want to drop? What time is it going to be? All of the things that when you think about your operation and how do you secure your operation, you don't tell anybody the plan. But all of a sudden, when you start telling everybody the plan, that's the plan. And then this is crazy. On the text chain itself, Pete Hegseth said, Operation Security is good. But he didn't know that Jeffrey Goldberg was on the text chain. Is that crazy? Apparently, somebody in Waltz's office, Michael Waltz's office, who is a staffer that works in national security, had that on the phone, and he added that person to the list. Now, to Jeffrey Goldberg's credit, he didn't tell anybody. Now, the way it was written up in the Atlantic is the Atlantic said that 2 hours prior to the bombing is when this conversation on the Signal app took place. And he didn't do anything. He did not act on that. He just sat in his car and he waited to see if the bombs started going off in Yemen. And I'll be damned if they didn't. Right on time, he checked the news, he checked his sources, and bombs were going off. So he knew that the information that he was given was not a plant and that he had the information. 2 hours later, when all of the bombs started going off, is when he went, holy smokes, we've just had a major security breach by people that I do not like. He's a leftist. First of all, the Atlantic is a left-leaning magazine. They don't say anything nice about Trump or Vance or Waltz or Gabbard or Hegseth. They never talk nice about them. But now he had them because it was facts. He had all of the information that he needed, and all of a sudden that was true. Then, after he revealed that he was on the text chain, everybody realized that this was a major operational security breach. And the reason why it's a major operational security breach is because if you're going to do operations and you're going to have Americans doing these operations, if that information had not gone to Jeffrey Goldberg, had it gone to somebody else that could have forwarded that information to Russia or to China or to the Houthis, and they could have put somebody in place to blow up all of the airplanes that were going to go over there or thwart all the missiles that were going over there, that would not be a good thing. That sucks. That means that those people that were on that text chain and the people responsible for securing that did not do their job. That is what you call a failure. It's a failure. Straight up. It's horrible. It's terrible. They've been fighting about this ever since. Absolutely crazy. This right here is Waltz. This right here is Hegseth. Absolutely terrible. On Monday, shortly after we published a story about a massive Trump administration security, a reporter asked Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth about the forthcoming attack on Yemen. He said nobody was texting war plans. That is bullshit. They were texting war plans. When you say what you're going to do, where you're going to do it, and when you're going to do it, that is war plans. As I wrote down here, what is the who, what, when, where, why, and how? It's who, it's us, what, bombs, when, time is designated, where in Yemen, to the Houthis, and how we were going to do it with missiles and airplanes. That's pretty damn. I was in the military for 30 years. I'm pretty sure I know what a war plan looks like. That looks like a freaking war plan. Now, is it specific? These airplanes are going to do this. This is how they're going to get refueled. This is where we're going to be. This is where we're going to launch them. This is what the tactics are. No, it's not at the tactical level, right? So there's 3 operational levels of war. There's a tactical level, which is teeth to teeth, as they say, door kicker to door kicker. Then there's operational, which is regional, which is going to be all about the skies in and around where they were doing this. And then you have the strategic level, which is the strategic planning level, which is where these people were, which are, hey, what are our strategies on the world stage in order to get this done? Strategic operational planning failures are the most critical. You can't be doing that shit. It infuriates me. You want to know why it infuriates me? Because if an airman, a sailor, a private, a sergeant, a lieutenant, anybody in our military services would have done this, they would be excoriated and crushed under the boot of the heels of the people that are running the show. Look what they did to Snowden. Snowden was sitting in a dark room and he's like, look at all these violations that we're having of the communications, and they're following our own people. They can't do that. They're violating the Fifth Amendment, the Fourth, the Fifth, the Sixth Amendment. They're not treating us with being right. And Snowden had to pack up his stuff and had to go. And now I believe he's living in Russia now. Now, should he have done what he did? No, Snowden should not have released that information. But WikiLeaks shouldn't have done that either, right? So the problem is that when you have it at the highest level, what are we talking about is going to happen to the people that were in the room, the people that were on that text chain? What's going to happen to National Security Advisor Michael Waltz? What's going to happen to Trump? What's going to happen to J.D. Vance, Gabbard, Ratcliffe? What's going to happen to all of them? Let me tell you something. They should be whipped. They should be whipped with a wet noodle. But here's what the reality is. They are in the executive branch of the United States government that is there to enforce the laws. This is like me going out and speeding through town and then stealing something from the Walmart and then running home. The first thing that has to happen is you have to get caught. Well, they were caught. The second thing that has to happen is you have to be arrested. Who's going to arrest these people? See, Trump owns the Department of Justice. He owns all the policing agencies. He owns all the prosecution for the federal government. He's the boss. Ratcliffe, the boss. Gabbard, the boss. J.D. Vance, assistant to the boss. We're talking Pete Hegseth, the boss of the military. When you have the commander-in-chief and you have the Secretary of Defense are the ones that are creating these, who's to enforce the rules on them? We the people. At this stage, we have to decide, do we go to our Congress people and say, because of the security breach and the seriousness of this security breach, we need to impeach the President of the United States and the Secretary of Defense and the Director of the CIA and the Director of National Security. That's what we're left with, folks. This is a very, very serious breach. This shit can't happen again. It can't happen again. Because are we having security breaches when we're dealing with Russia when we're talking about Ukraine? Are we having security breaches when we're talking about the Border Patrol and what's going on at the border? Are we having security breaches when we're talking about what's going on with China and trade negotiations with China? What about France, England, Australia, New Zealand, NATO, all of our NATO partners, all of the alliances that we have around the world? They need to tighten up the ship. Now, nothing's going to happen to them. Nothing's going to happen to them, but I hope that this is a signal to them that they need to get their shit together and they can't let stuff like this happen. Number one, it's bad for optics. Now, Trump is going, this is a deal, but it's not that big of a deal because nobody on the American side and the ally side got hurt in the attack. The attack went off as planned, and we accomplished our mission and our objectives. But what kind of confidence does that give the American people? Now, I know that nothing's going to happen to them, but I still have to say something to them about it. And this is my forum to say something about that. Bad on you. This is bullshit. It can't be happening. Operation Security is too important to our nation. It's too important to me, my neighbors, to you, the people that are watching this. I have to remind you that we're talking about lives. We're talking about national security. We're talking about, hey, look here. If our national defenses went down, if we don't have the top cover of all of our missiles, if we do not have the strength to defend our nation and our enemies found out about it, what could they do to us? This is important stuff. If I could excoriate them more, I would excoriate them more. That's how inflamed I am about this. And everybody that's out there should be pissed off about this. I don't care whether you're on the right, and that's why I started the show with this. I don't care whether you're on the right or whether you're on the left. It needs to have proper attention paid to this for the right reasons, not just because they're Republicans and the Democrats are going, gotcha. It has to, it's not because it's Republican, it's not because it's Democrat, it's because what it is. It is what it is. We can't have stuff like this. So don't defend Trump on this. No, nobody's going to get fired. I don't think anybody's going to get fired on this. If they do, they're going to fire the lackey, the person that put Jeffrey Goldberg on the thing. That person might get fired. But Hegseth's not going to. And here's what the deal is. Hegseth was a major in the United States Army, and he knows better than to use something other than a skiff to discuss information like this. I don't know whether Signal's been authorized by the national security agencies in the country to be used to talk about classified information. I don't know whether it's secure. I know that we used to have secure phones that used to be able to link up, but when you use those secure phones, you would have to pick it up, you would have to wait for a dial, then you'd have to push a button, and then it went to a clearing process so that you could talk to whoever you wanted to talk to. Now, say Signal is supposed to be secure, but the people at Signal, I don't know whether they can see this stuff. This is crazy. This is the most insane thing that could possibly happen. But I'm just very thankful that it was a minor incursion for our national security efforts. It could have been a lot bigger. If this had happened at a different time, if this had happened in a different way, if this had happened under different circumstances, it could have been very, very, very bad. I'm glad that they found this out very early in the second term of President Trump, so they don't make this stupid ass mistake again. And I hope they don't make it again. They're not going to be hurt, but that's about all I got to say about that. So, thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. Can I tell you how much I appreciate this? Remember, I'm not on the left, I'm not on the right. I'm Mickey in the middle. I don't care about your politics. I don't care. I just care if you're a good human being and that you're thinking about all of us being in this together, as in we, the people of the United States of America. I cannot tell you how much I want you to think about we, the people. We're all in this together. It's you, it's me, it's you, it's me, it's our neighbors. Ignore the 20% of the crazies on the right, the 20% of the crazies on the left. It's just us. My name is Mickey, and this has been Mickey in the Middle, the quintessential show for Middle Americans, where all Middle Americans are welcome. Doesn't matter where you've been or where you're going. It just matters that you're here right now and you got common sense. Remember, Mickey in the middle of the week, Wednesday night, every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central. Hope to see you soon. See you next week. You guys be good.